es más que complacer a un cliente. Es un punto de venta conectado al Internet con fibra óptica de Spectrum Business, que registra todas sus transacciones de forma segura y es respaldado con servicio al cliente, las 24 horas del día, 7 días a la semana, localizado en los Estados Unidos y técnicos locales. Es todo lo que importa. Obtén Business Internet Advantage gratis, para siempre, cuando te cambies a Spectrum y obtienes 4 líneas mobile. Visita spectrum.com/free for life para más información. Se aplican restricciones. Servicio no disponible en todas las áreas.
Hey, Trojan family, what's going on? Welcome to the USC LAFB show here on the LAFB network. I'm your host, Ryan Dyrud. Hope everyone is having a great January 2nd, the new year, 2026. I feel like I've been talking about 2026 for so long with the 2026 recruiting class, with the hopes of the future of USC, but now we're officially in the year 2026, and let's hope we kick it off with a bang. Transfer portal officially opened today. A massive amount of players officially entering the portal. I think I saw like 1,800 or so just today, which is just insane. But, you know, this is what college football is now, and obviously this is how you can build your roster quickly and get to the point of where these college football playoff teams are. You know, basically, a quick video today. There are 2 visits scheduled for USC, plus another one, potentially another 2, potentially next week. So we'll touch on that quickly. But you can see in these college football playoffs, and I kind of touched on this a little bit last night, but how quickly the right player acquisitions in the portal can springboard you. When you look at the 4 teams right now in the college football playoff semifinals, Indiana, obviously when they hired Curt Cignetti, huge amount of transfer portal players came with him. A lot from JMU, but others. And then they went pretty heavy in the portal again this year. Now, they weren't one of those schools just shelling out tons of dough for a bunch of 5 stars, but they're getting the right players. Guys like Fernando Mendoza that flashed some good things, good character, good leader, looking for kind of the next step, you know, going from Cal to maybe a better shot somewhere else. So players like that can have a huge difference. But, you know, definitely heavy in the portal and just hit on a lot of guys. When you look at Miami, when you look at Ole Miss, and when you look at Oregon, all 3 of them have in common is they spent a ton of money in the portal. They got obviously high-end talent and spent a lot of money. And so if you can truly be on the Indiana level of player evaluation, then you can spend a little less, or you just go and you just write the biggest checks like the other 3. Ole Miss spent a ton in the portal. They've done that actually quite a bit recently in the past couple of years. We know Oregon always going to spend everywhere, portal and recruiting, and Miami went big. I mean, obviously the big name they got was Carson Beck, but they got a lot of other big names in the portal, and, you know, that's why they are where they are. So USC has an opportunity, whatever you think of the program, where it's at with this 2026 class, and with the correct additions in the portal to really make a good run on this thing next year. So it's certainly absolutely possible with the right players. So 2 players scheduled to visit tomorrow. One, which I think is I don't think they should let him leave campus, and that's Jontez Williams, cornerback from Iowa State. He's been at Iowa State 4 years. He's been a very productive player. Played all 13 games in 2023, all 14 games in 2024, and then this year ended up getting injured after Game 5 or during Game 5, and obviously, you know, that stunted his production for the season. Getting hurt, seems to be fully healthy, but a super productive player in 24. So last year, 46 tackles, 5 passes defensed, and 4 interceptions. So an absolute ball hawk. You know, Iowa State Power 4 program. Obviously, Matt Campbell's done a lot of good things with that program, building them to what they are and the talent they can get. That's a true developmental Power 4 program, right? There's the Power 4 programs that are, hey, these are the real contenders. There's the Blue Bloods and the contenders. Kind of, you can put them in the same category. And then there's kind of the developmental Power 4 that, hey, they can have some flashes here and there. But hey, if you can get to 8-9 wins every year, like, you're doing a really good job in terms of what your kind of expectation is. That's kind of what Iowa State became with Matt Campbell. We'll see what they do now that he's gone, and if Matt Campbell can then elevate Penn State. But anyway, Jontez Williams, I think, great corner, has good size, 5'11", 200 pounds. And when you look at this secondary, and I don't want to just keep belaboring the point, Tons of young talent. Tons of young talent. Very little experience. Obviously, Marcellus Williams now has a year of starting under his belt. I'd love to see him keep improving, keep developing. Chasen Johnson played his entire freshman year at UCF. Looked like he was going to be the starter this year. Missed the entire year for injury. That's it when you look at the corner position in terms of like starting amount. Like Alex Graham, who hasn't officially re-signed yet. I don't want to get anyone worried. That should hopefully get done soon, or if it's not already, just not announced. But still, he's just going to be a true sophomore. D. Reddick, true sophomore. Like it's still a lot. And then obviously all the guys coming in. So getting a guy like Williams, who's been in college football for 4 years, played for a good program, had great development, is someone that can come over, start day one, and potentially lock down one side of the field. So he'll be visiting tomorrow. You would hope that he would not leave USC, but he does have trips planned as of now for Notre Dame as well as Florida. So real all over the country. We'll see if we can keep him on the West Coast before ever heading out. The other scheduled one, wide receiver, NC State, Terrell Anderson, 6'2", 204 pounds. He's going to be a junior, so has a couple years of eligibility left. Last season, really solid season. 39 receptions, 629 yards, and 5 touchdowns. More of an outside guy with that size, but can play in the slot. I think he had 1 touchdown of like a bubble screen coming in from the slot that he just took to the house. Not like your true track star burner. Doesn't have like a Tanook Hines like speed, but plenty fast and can absolutely, when you think of guys like Mekhi Lemon and that kind of speed that, hey, he can make you miss and go. He's just not like a 100 meter burner kind of guy. So we'll see. He's like the 3rd or 4th ranked receiver in the portal. I know he's maybe not a name. Everyone's pretty much this whole process when talking about receiver has really just circled either Cam Coleman or Nick Marsh. Cam Coleman, I'll get to a second. Nick Marsh seems to be, I don't know if there's not interest from USC, but it seems as of now, does not seem likely that one will happen. We'll see if a visit ends up getting scheduled or whatnot. But I think, Terrell Anderson is a guy that has production, can come in and compete, and can give you really valuable reps as potentially being wide receiver 1. That's kind of why he's hitting that portal, is a guy that's done some good things at NC State, now looking to elevate to a better program to where he can really shine, raise his draft stock, and hopefully help an offense, go on a real run. So the name not might be as high profile, but he'd be a little cheaper, and I think he actually has the size and the production to actually be that guy and the experience to be that guy if needed to be leaned on. Cam Coleman, according to Pete Thamel, will look to get a visit to USC next week. Currently, he's visiting Texas. He's going to visit Texas A&M right after that, and then planning, according to Thamel, to take trips to Texas Tech, Alabama, and USC. Now, he is the number 1 player in the portal and also the number 1 receiver in the portal, which means, as you can assume, he is going to be very expensive. So this is where, when your player acquisition and roster building, like USC is going to spend money. They're fundraising. I think they're going to have funds to go out and be aggressive. As I've always said, it's going to be 10 to 15 players. They're not going to sign 20, 25. I think it's going to be 10 to 15 portal players. And you want, if not all of those, to be starting caliber players. There's going to be some that's going to be depth, obviously. But you should have the vast majority are coming in to compete to start right off the bat.
Es más que complacer a un cliente. Es un punto de venta conectado al Internet con fibra óptica de Spectrum Business, que registra todas sus transacciones de forma segura y es respaldado con servicio al cliente, las 24 horas del día, 7 días a la semana, localizado en los Estados Unidos y técnicos locales. Es todo lo que importa. Obtén Business Internet Advantage gratis, para siempre, cuando te cambies a Spectrum y obtienes 4 líneas mobile. Visita spectrum.com/free for life para más información. Se aplican restricciones. Servicio no disponible en todas las áreas.
And when that is the plan, it is not going to be cheap. And so you have to really prioritize. So I believe wide receiver, adding 1 receiver is a priority. It is not, in my opinion, a top priority. And we'll see what USC feels about that or does with that. But if there's a position where, hey, if they don't want to spend too much, I've said this many times, I love the talent of this receiving room. I'm a little nervous with the lack of experience in big games and big situations, but I would rather gamble on that position with those guys and that lack of experience than others, specifically on defense. So the spending, to me, the high spending should be for guys on the defensive the side of the ball. Guys like Jontez Williams. Guys like some of the backers I've talked about before, some of the defensive linemen I've talked about before, some of the edge rushers I've talked about before. Because someone like a Cam Coleman is probably going to cost you $2 million. He's going to be in that 1.5 to 2+ million range. And so unless you think, or unless you just end up having a crazy fundraise, which, maybe I don't think they're going to go that crazy, where you're going to spend $20 million in the transfer portal, that seems a little rich to me for a position that they're very deep at. Very young, very inexperienced, but there's a lot of upside and talent there. And I just think that prioritization of high-end spending needs to be at the other positions. So, but Coleman's expected to visit next week. We'll see how that goes. At least they're getting him on campus and want to talk to him if he leaves the state of Texas, that is, before without a contract signed. But someone, as I just talked about before, Terrell Anderson, is going to be quite a bit cheaper and, probably a significant drop-off from Coleman, but does have production and can come in and help lead that room, a guy that's been there and done that and played a number of college football games. So we'll keep an eye on that, and see what that ultimately ends up happening. One other name to watch for, and then I'll wrap this up, short and sweet. Sophomore linebacker Owen Chambliss from San Diego State. 9.5 tackles for loss, 110 tackles, and 4 sacks. Went to Centennial High School. 2 years of eligibility remaining. So Owen Chambliss is a guy to watch. I think that there has been contact made between the school and him. I don't think a visit has been scheduled yet. But one of those linebackers that, I get it. Mountain West, G6, not maybe one of those Power 4 guys. But if you're going, as I've always said, if you're going to get one of those G6 players or lower, look at the production. If they have really high production, it's probably worth a swing to see if they can make that leap. Because sometimes that high production speaks more than, hey, this guy was a former 5 or 4 star, but he hasn't got on the field at one of these other schools, so we really don't know what we're getting out of him and why he's truly transferring. Like, could he just not beat anybody out on his own team? Whereas, hey, this guy started 2 years and just absolutely dominated. Like, yeah, the competition wasn't as good, but if he has the size profile we see on tape that he can play the position. Now just let's see if he can do it against a little upper echelon talent. So Owen Chambliss, certainly one to watch, as I believe that is someone that they might be keying in on at the linebacker position. So there you have it. News will be hot and heavy. Keep it on LAFBnetwork.com. Check out our message board. I'm going to just keep updating that. I had family in town, so things were a little crazy, but now back to business as usual, beginning now moving forward. So I'll be on, 3 times probably tomorrow and moving forward here on the USC LF YouTube channel. Plus dropping I have a transfer portal tracker that I'll drop the link when it's published. Just we can track that. Plus it'll be on our message board you can find. So again, all of that is at LAFBnetwork.com. Easy to find. Check that out. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button here at the USC LAF YouTube channel. Become a member if you want to help us out a little bit more. Get some merchandise discounts plus some other perks. That'd be huge and amazing, and we love to see it. So appreciate you all, family. Plenty more coming. It's going to be a wild transfer portal season, officially open now for the next 10 days or so, or 2 weeks or so. So there'll be a lot of news coming out, and we'll keep you posted right here on the USC LAFB show. Appreciate you, family. As always, fight on. Hey, Trojan family, thank you so much for hanging out and watching the USC LAFB show. Before you go, let me tell you quickly about our friends over at Sleeper. Go right now, download the Sleeper app. It's the #1 sports app, not just for season-long fantasy, but they've got live pickers, they've got live stat updates, they've got a chat that you can chat with other users, plus the daily pick'em, which is a blast, or daily fantasy, whatever you want to call it. You go and pick 2 to 8 players across any sports. If you're talking USC, go choose J.D. Maiava in his next matchup. Pick more or less passing yards, more or less touchdowns. You stack those, and you can win real money. When you go to make your first deposit, make sure you use our promo code USC LAFB. You're going to get a match deposit up to $100. Put in $100, you get $100 free to play with from Sleeper. Put in $10, they'll match you that $10, so now you're sitting at $20 to play with. But also, right now, for any new users, no deposit required. You get $20 free entry. You can stack both. You can get the $20 for free. Go make a deposit. Use USC LAFB. And now you've got a bunch of free money to play with right there on the Sleeper app. Check it out, Trojan family. And when you do, tell them the guys at the USC LAFB sent you.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.